Hello everyone, thank you for taking time and coming to this awesome event. And before I get started, I wanted to say thank you for everyone who is involved in organizing Angular Vienna, the push-based team, Lean Coders. It's a fantastic event. I always have been attending as an attendee to learn something, but I think it's time to get back something for the community and share some knowledge, some findings I have. And Michael already said that I'm indeed Dmytro Mezhenskyi. I indeed have a YouTube channel, and if you have feeling that you saw my face somewhere, that's probably from there. Besides that, I also involved in consulting and freelancing activities, and always open for collaborations, opportunities. So feel free to contact me. And this is my first time, so I'm a little bit nervous. Now we talk. I asked Matthew Riegler, who started with public talks recently as well, relatively recently, and I asked him for advice, and he said today that, okay, just start with the simple topic. And I was like, okay, I will. It's too late, I went from opposite direction. And even though the topic of for today is events in Angular, it's a pretty simple thing on the surface. But I like to dive into stuff, look under the hood, what happens there, and this is what we are going to do today together. And we will see how this everything works and how this knowledge we can apply in real application, because just knowing how things are working, it's, well, not so useful, not always. So, click binding and, event binding and handler, what can be simpler, right? But this is the thing that we write in our code editors, but this is not what will be executed in the browser. And here's my first question, like, have you an idea what will be eventually executed in the browser? After the compilation, after all this magic, what is eventually under these simple lines? Anyone?
Secret life of
Exactly. Oh, sorry? Yes, exactly. This is just a simple add event listener for an event you listen to, and then execution of the handler you provide. Of course, it's very simplified, and in the following 30 minutes, you will see that things are much more complex, but even though I will still try to focus on only things that are important for today, and to not go too much in depth. We will get started with the event setup pipeline. We'll see how things is set up under the hood. Then we will focus on event manager plugin system. This is the part of this entire setup pipeline, and this is where we're supposed to find some gems that are sometimes very useful. And we will see how to apply it. There will be a short live coding session, so decided why go easy way if we can do first talk and first live coding together. I learned hard way. So let's get started with the first section, first block of the talk. So it's event setup pipeline. And a quick note before we get started. During the watching, you might have feeling like, okay, at some point things are happening, but it turns out it's an abstraction layer. And then we go further. Okay, but this is probably the point. No, it's another abstraction layer when we go there. But unlike this GIF, we will go to the end and yeah, we will see how everything eventually works. So everything starts with the compilation, because browser cannot understand code that we write in code editor. It doesn't understand TypeScript yet, probably, and it doesn't understand all the decorator stuff, so it has to be compiled. And components that have just a template like the one you can see there will be translated into the following thing that looks a bit scary, but yeah, basically this is the function that creates DOM nodes that that eventually create your view. And from this whole mess, we are interested in only one instruction. This is DOM listener. By the way, instruction, it's just fancy name for a simple function that does a small part of work. It's just terminology from the IV compiler. They name these functions as an instruction. So yeah, we are interested in this particular DOM listener instruction. So let's go inside and take a look what is going on there. So here happens, this is in reality, if you look at the source code, it's a huge function with a lot of things happening. For example, somewhere at that point happens check if we handle the component or directive output, or it's just an event. So because outputs are handled slightly differently, but anyway, we go through the path of when we handle just an event for a DOM element. And this is where we will end up. This is internal listen to DOM event function. And there happens a couple of things. First, there resolved a renderer. Renderer, you know this guy. Especially from the context when you probably heard that in Angular you should not interact with DOM elements in Angular directly. You should do it through the renderer. In modern Angular, it's not actually true anymore. You can do that, but yeah, just for the context, so you know that that's the renderer2 that you can inject in your component and do stuff. And actually, this guy is responsible for creating actual DOM nodes in your particular case. And then the second interesting part, it's a wrap listener. This function takes listener you provide, your handler, and it wraps with the additional functionality, namely it automatically marks your view as dirty. So you don't have to do it manually. This is why you don't need calling mark for checking your event handlers, because it happens automatically. And it also runs your listener function, your handler, in the special try catch block. And if error there happens from the catch block, it is propagated to global error handler in Angular. Probably you know about it. So the next step, Angular actually, not we, Angular resolves the DOM node from special T node, its internal data structure. I'm not going to dive into it, but we basically there get the element where the event has to be attached. And after that, we delegate, set up event listener to render via listen method. And we provide everything that is needed there. It's a target, meaning our DOM element, its event name, and wrapped listener already. Yeah, in renderer, so we could think, okay, a renderer maybe that's the endpoint. No, not really. What does renderer besides creating properly your view? It also injects their so-called event manager. We will go to it a bit later, but this is the guy who, this is another level of abstraction. And renderer delegates the actual, before it wraps our callback with the decorated prevent default function. It basically does that when you return false from your handler, it's actually equal to prevent default. Yeah, so that's like syntax as sugar, because in vanilla JavaScript, if you return false for the callback that is set up via add event listener, it will be ignored. In Angular, it's just shortcut. And after that, already like prepared callback, and yeah, it calls add event listener of the event manager. And as I said, it's another abstraction layer that does the following thing. As a manager, it doesn't do actual job. Yeah, it just injects so-called manager plugins. And those are guys who know how to work with particular events. Yeah, and then inside the add event listener, manager finds plugin that can handle the particular event. And the first plugin that can handle it, manager like resolves it and delegates handling to event listener of this plugin. And this is finally our destination. This is where things happen. So two methods important to mention here. First one is supports. This is the method that manager calls during the find plugin for. It goes in the loop through all plugins and calls the supports method. If it returns true, manager says, okay, yeah, I will resolve you and you will be doing a certain job. And then it calls add event listener, where actually we get element, we get event name, we get handler. So everything we need to properly set up event listener for the element and properly remove listener when it is not needed. So why so complex? Why we couldn't just directly assign things to the DOM element? And actually, if we zoom it out a little bit and go through these phases, everything makes sense, actually. The compilation phase, it just makes everything executable, yeah? It's essential part. Listener wrapping layer, that's our developer experience, user experience. We don't need a lot of things to do manually because a lot of things happen automatically there. The render layer, that's pretty interesting. Why do we need this part? This is because our components can be created in multiple modes. So if you know, there can be encapsulation, non-encapsulation, view encapsulation emulated, view encapsulation shadow DOM. And all these modes, they require some little tweaks to make it properly happen. And also, if you use animation, especially legacy animations in your component, that will be handled also by dedicated render that knows how to render stuff with these custom animations, properties, and events. If you use animations in your components, you know that they have triggered a special property with the add sign in the front, and also events like animation start, animation end, etc., etc. And those are Angular specific events. Those are not native events. And that's why renderer have to resolve this first and understand, should we listen to the DOM event or it's an animation event and we want to delegate stuff and event catching from the animation engine. Then, yeah, event manager layer. That's what we are going to focus on. So why we couldn't actually do things easier here and just get rid of this part of the entire system? Well, yeah, let's focus on this part a little bit. So, as you could already understand from the previous slides, Event Manager has an ecosystem of different plugins. And why do we need those plugins, actually? Well, the thing is that we can handle simple events like key down, user press something, and our callback is executed. This simple event can be handled by dedicated DOM events plugin that is built into Angular, and it handles like vast majority of your events in your application. However, if you didn't know, now you know that in Angular we can do actually things like this. Just out of the box without any additional configuration, we can do just like that. Implement hotkey functionality. When the user clicks Shift Enter, the handler will be fired. And this is quite special type of event. And to handle it, we don't need just to set up event listener. We have to perform certain logic there and check if the Shift and Enter is pressed and maybe other conditions, right? So that's why it's going to be delegated to another event plugin that knows how to do this stuff. And the cool thing is that this system is extensible, and Angular provides a way to extend by us this event system and introduce our custom stuff, for example, like this. We can debounce our events using syntaxes like this. And it is fully customizable and up to you how to implement it. And as I said, it's going to be handled by a separate plugin that we are going to implement right now. So let's try to code a little bit. Here's our VS Code, and one second. For whatever reason, it doesn't want to mirror. It worked on my machine. That's strange. It's cannot. Sorry for the delay. The problem came from the unexpected direction, actually. Okay, never mind. I will be watching like this. First of all, let me quickly show the application that I prepared as for the demonstration. So it's pretty simple. Yeah, I know that cannot be mirrored, but anyway. So there is just a search field, so I can type anything into it, and it goes to the server, fetches user that actually matches what I entered. And it is, let me show the user components. So this is a pretty simple component. You can see here I have the input that listens to the input event, and there I update the query signal, and this signal is being used eventually here in the HTTP resource. So whenever it changes, it retriggers the HTTP call, and things are fetched from the server. So the first thing we have to do is actually define, if you want to extend an event system like this, you have to come up with the syntax you want to support there. And I already know how it will look like. So it's going to be input, then dbounds, and then I want to define some debounds time. It can be like 2 seconds or something like maybe 200 milliseconds. So I want to support all of these options. But yeah, let's say that I want to have it like this, to have bigger delay, so it's easier to see then eventually. And once we defined this syntax, the next thing we have to do is to register our custom plugin that will be handling these things. And you do this stuff inside the app config. And yeah, I prepared already some boilerplate to not type it. And yeah, what we do here is just we provide event manager plugins token. We set up it as multi because it's required because we have multiple plugins, and your plugin itself, right? And let's go inside. Let's go to the class itself. And let me collapse all these things. Cannot. That's hard to do it like that. So yeah, here is the class event plugin that is empty class so far. And one of the essential things it has to do is to extend the event manager plugin. This is the base class that all plugins are extending. This will do 2 things. First, we inherit certain properties from the base class that are useful for all of those events, and it will require us to implement certain methods, right? So we can ask VS Code implemented, and yeah, we get 2 methods I already mentioned. It's supports and event listener. So in the first supports, we should return true or false, depending on if our plugin can handle or not a certain syntax. And as I said, we are going to listen for this type of events. So basically what we could do, it's just do something like this, but obviously it's not working. It's hard coded. If I want to debounce click? What if I want to change the debouncing time? So we have to make it more generic, and here regexp could be handy. We could simply turn it into regexp and call the test method of it, and then provide the event name. So just like that, and these things we can remove. So in this case, our method will check if our event name contains the debounce substring. It means that, okay, this plugin can be involved. It knows how to deal with this kind of stuff. And then, if you remember, the add event listener method is called, and this is where actually the magic happens. So we want to set up event listener, right? So we take element. It will be my input element, right? And we can set add event listener. And here the tricky part. We cannot provide event name there, because inside the event name we get the entire a string like this, input debounce 2 seconds whatsoever. This event doesn't exist in JavaScript, right? So what we have to do, we have to parse the string and extract the original event. In my case, it is a input, right? And what I can actually do is to just take the event name, and simply split it by the dot sign.
There's a typo.
Typo, yeah, I see, thank you. Would be so much easier if mirroring would work. But anyway, so we split, and it means that eventually we get an array which contains my input event. This is my original event, right? Then the second argument will be this debounce modifier, debounce, and the third element will be actually the string 2s, right? And it means that I can easily extract or distract all this stuff into dedicated variables, like we can name it original event. Then I skip the debounce modifier because I don't need it, and let's name it time. This is the 2 seconds string. And having the original event, I can already provide it right here, right? And then we can provide already the handler, but before we provide our handler, we have to wrap it with additional functionality, because if we provide it like this, we will get the regular, event handling that we had before, but we want to debounce it. And for that, I created a helper function that looks like this. Don't understand me wrong, I love RxJS. I use it, I'm not against it. I just wanted to simplify things and implement something similar what in RxJS would do. So this is how it looks like. It takes a function and amount of milliseconds, or for how long I want to debounce. So I can wrap my handler just like that. So let's extract it, provide it here, and also I have to provide my time, but I also want to parse it a little bit, because I expect here milliseconds, right? But I get a string with 2 seconds whatsoever, and this is the function that does this parsing. It's pretty simple from one side, but this regex makes it a bit more scary, but it's pretty easy. I just split digits from strings like seconds or milliseconds, and then I have 2 groups, and based on these 2 groups, I just perform calculations. If it's millisecond, I just return the number, and otherwise I convert it to milliseconds. So hopefully there is nothing difficult here. So yeah. All good. Yeah, I almost done. Yeah, awesome. So now we have to provide this time function that will calculate everything properly, and we are done, almost. Why not? Because we set up event listener, but we didn't remove it. And if we don't remove it, we get what? Memory leak. Oh, exactly. So we have to handle this part. And where do we handle this cleanup stuff? We do that in the function that we have to return from this method. So I return the function, and I have to again use element. How hard it is, damn it. Okay, so that's element, remove event listener. Did I do a typo? Remove attribute. Yeah, here we go. Remove event listener. And yeah, so here I provide the original name as well. Original name. And I have to provide actually the handler that I have to extract. And here, important thing that we have to keep the same reference to that, right? So that's why we have to exclude everything, our wrapped handler into something like constant, wrapped handler, whatever. So here we go, and then we can take this, provide it instead of this line. And also we have to provide it here. Typo, right? Okay. Oh, original event. Okay, and hopefully, yeah, at this point we are done. Let's make sure that we saved everything. Blah. And let's try to check.
There was a typo in the debug stream.
Typo in the bound stream. Here?
In the event handler. Yes, debug stream.
Which line?
9.
9. Ah, that's common. It's just common. But nice. Okay, and yeah, let's try. So I enter something, and after 2 seconds only, my event is fired, and yeah, in such a way we debounced the event, which is pretty cool. Yeah, thank you.
Question time. I have my stack of cards here.
Thank you very much. What is the context of the injection that you can perform in this event manager plugin? Is it like it's a more or less static thing?
As far as I know, it's a root injector context. So you cannot provide it on the component level, if you know.
Ah, that's sad. Because I would wish to be able to like define a setting key in the component as a directive, and then use this setting key to check out what is the proper debounce time for this kind of component or setting. You know what I mean?
I think yes, but I think it's pretty hard because event manager, it exists on the root level. And you cannot, move it to a specific part of the DOM. It's resolved there at the bootstrap, and all these things exist in the root injection level.
And the HTML element that is provided in the function, can I put something on this level and use it? Because I think in
the event you receive actually. So you have some modifiers on the event, and that's what you can use to trigger or not some specific behavior.
Sorry, you modify the event?
A modifier. So imagine your event, your plugin checks the event, and then see it's something like dot debounce. You could check whatever that debounce is.
I could do just debounce dot user setting for search dot. Oh, like basically this is the way. Okay, I would use this. Okay.
And that's how you would.
Yes, that's on the level of plugin. You handle
okay.
it and already do whatever you want with that.
I was thinking too complicated. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
First you, then you.
So thank you for the presentation.
Yeah, my pleasure.
What I want to ask is that if we have more like events, if we want to have more custom events, then probably we have to have like extended more the class, right?
Yeah, I would definitely recommend to do separate plugin per use case.
Yeah.
Not.
What I want to ask is that would it be more beneficial to actually extend this class even more and more and more, or to have like one? Because what you wrote here, technically, the part in the event listener I'm talking about, that part is like just pure JavaScript. So in JavaScript we can have custom events. We don't need to listen on the default events. So technically we could write a custom event with the same name for input.bounce.
Custom event, you mean output?
Sorry?
By custom event, you mean the output, or?
No. The custom JavaScript custom
Okay.
events. I'm talking about JavaScript custom events. And what I'm saying is that would it just want to know your opinion about it, because you know more about this. That is it better to have like, if we want to have more custom, more this kind of Angular custom events, is it better to have like more this kind of classes, or one generic class, and this generic class calls a function which actually executed a custom event, and a JavaScript custom event, and we have like one other like register for one custom event, and we can define different new custom events, like for, I don't know, input.debounce.2second, because it's then we have this kind of event names. We don't have to create an event on the input, but we can create an event on the input.debounce.2second, for example.
Yeah, I tried to compile it in my head. It'll take some time. Like generally, the rule of thumb is to separate things. Like keep everything per use case. It's always good for testability, maintainability. It's a general rule.
Yes.
But we can try another attempt after the talk. So maybe.
No, what I'm thinking more about is that imagine that we're using encapsulation shadow DOM. Okay, and in the shadow DOM, we have to bubble up the event, so to get it out of the shadow DOM. And that's why I'm talking about this topic. Then in this case we can handle the event out of the Angular and out of the context from the Angular. That is why I'm asking that.
Okay, let's discuss about it later, if you don't mind.
Thank you so much.
I'm running.
I have a new idea for a hack.
Sorry?
I have a new idea for a new hack, so that's all.
Okay. Oh yeah.
Stage
is yours.
I wanted to ask if so whenever this whole thing is generated, do you have injection context there?
In manager.
So whenever you do this, whenever you're creating the add event listener and you're overriding all these handlers and whatsoever, what to do?
Yeah, you can inject anything from the root injector in the manager plugin if you need. Yeah, because if you you can play with that, and maybe next.
Yeah, because then you can also
share with us.
bind it not just with an add event listener, but you can actually bind it directly to some sort of service and whatsoever.
If you remember, somewhere when I showed the source code of it, you see it's no.
Because the event manager plugin anyway
it's
is
injectable,
right.
so it means that you can inject whatever stuff you need there and enjoy.
Awesome. I will misuse it. Thank you.
First here.
Thank you. If you win today's raffle, will you switch to WebStorm?
Challenge accepted.
Then here. I go from right to left.
Thank you.
If I understood correctly, the event manager plugin is it doesn't say exactly which elements it refers to or where do you can put it. So it only checks all of them, right?
Yes, yes.
How does this scale or how does this affect the performance? Is this something that we can use as much as we want or just a little bit?
Yeah, well, where it's called once during the view initialization. So every event binding is kind of checked. So it goes through the plugin, and for this binding, the supports method is called. So once, right? It's called once if it's true or false. So it's activated, and then it's just it. So I don't see any really potential performance degradation because of that. Maybe if you have in the support method something very expensive, it will run through the loop of 100 elements or whatsoever, then it might be the problem, yeah, during the activation phase. But otherwise, I don't think it might be a problem. And it also there is an alternative with event or with directives. You could achieve similar with directives, but with directives the problem is that every usage of directive creates its own instance, which means the instance for it will be stored in the memory. Event Manager plugin exists only in only one. There's no many manager instances for every binding, so it's more like efficient for the memory management compared to directives. And if you have like a huge table or many elements where like custom events are used, then you will definitely benefit from approach with the plugins rather than with directives, because then you will create a lot of directive instances in memory, which is not necessary.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. So in the HTML template that we write in a normal component, when you provide the event name, does that have to be like statically, like hard-coded in the template, or can that be generated dynamically? If that is so, is that an injection attack vector? And also, do you know if there's a character limit on that?
Oh, okay, good. That's a good question. I didn't think about it before, so I cannot answer exactly. But
you can't have dynamic.
I also don't think that.
It's a string, like you said, it's initialized only once, so it has to be static.
Yeah, I trust this guy. Everyone he says is true.
So you cannot configure the 2 seconds, for example.
No, it has to be static, yes.
Yeah. Okay. My question would go towards IDE integration. So when you make a lot of these custom event listeners and you have some hard-coded names, as we discussed, is there some way to make IDE support for that? If you have like big teams and you want to make sure that these custom events even exist in the first place?
That's the reason why we haven't shipped more event plugins. Is the integration is basically inexistent, and also it's not reshapable. So it's one of the problems.
Thank you, Matthew, for answering the question.
I've lost too much time. So
What questions? Here, 2. No, 1.
Yeah, I have 2 questions. First question is, could I also listen over a directive with host listener to this new custom event plugins?
You mean to the output event?
No, I mean
in
the directive you have a host listener listening to specifically this duration, debounce event.
Yeah, sure. I mean, every event is going through the plugin, so it doesn't matter directive it or it's a component. Yeah, you can do that.
Okay. And my second question would be, what are the best use cases you saw for this event, custom event plugins?
Well, I think
debounce
this
is
pretty
substitutable with RxJS.
Yeah, but I mean, sometimes it's a bit cumbersome with RxJS. So you have to use a from event and all this stuff, and taking into account that Angular goes to the optional, in the direction of optional RxJS, that could be another approach to deal with this kind of things. Instead of pulling the entire library RxJS just for this use case. Sometimes they're interchangeable, and it really doesn't matter which approach do you use. It's up to your preferences. And regarding other use cases, I didn't use it in practice, but I saw how handlers are executed outside of the zone. So it's kind of way of optimizing performance. And I saw it, there is a library called Taiga UI, and they heavily utilize this approach as well. They have variations of plugins that you can check out and get inspiration there for different use cases. I use that just for things like debouncing, and yeah, it's pretty rare when you need it, but it's sometimes it's very convenient.
Okay, thank you.
And the framework ships one plugin only, and it's the one that allows you to listen to keyboard keys.
There is the one built in and the one that handles default click events. So there are two built-in plugins, and for Hammer.js, as far as I know, but it's deprecated.
It will be removed from it.
It will be removed. Matthew is working on it.
Yeah. So
okay.
To that. The built-in plugin that exists, what kind of regex matching or whatever does it use for the support function? Can it like prevent us from making a custom one with a special syntax?
I'm not sure I got your question.
Like, do we know how the supports method looks like for the built-in plugin?
For built-in, well, only reading the source code. So you can go there. Maybe I even...
The native one just returns true. It's the default one, and everything that comes before it checks one after one after one. If not matched, it will match the default.
Also, the custom plugins would come before that?
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
For example, key events. Yeah, there you can go to the source code of Angular and find where it is. Supports. Yeah, here we go. But this hotkey plugin, it has pretty complex logic here. How does it work? But if you have time, enjoy. You can include some LLMs to explain this stuff. But yeah, nowadays it's much easier. You just give it to Claude, it explains. I was figuring out in this stuff before it was terrible. Yeah.
Okay. I would have also a question regarding the debouncing. We have debouncing, and afterwards we have the signal set, and then the resources are loaded. How would you do it when you want to first load everything, and then for subsequent keystrokes you want to debounce? Would that be possible? Can you give some additional parameter?
You do that in the plugin logic. So it will be activated at the moment when the view is initialized. And there you can actually set up timers that fire event at the time when you need. So you do that as part of the logic.
It's like you want to throttle in the
I would like to avoid overload on the server. So the first call I would like to make fast, so the user has response, and then slowing down, yes.
Okay, everyone just one question? Quick ones too?
about pizza.
Quick one. I was just wondering, you told us about the plugin that exists for the default events. What if you register for an already existing event? Are you replacing the handling for that, or is it additional handling?
For the custom JavaScript event, you mean?
No, if you don't write the custom one, but if you want to...
Can you override built-in?
Yeah.
Override built-in event. I think yes. If you create a plugin that returns true, it will be by default picked up for every event. So like you can see. Okay, that's the source code of Angular. So event DOM events. You can see how it is implemented in Angular. They just return true, so it's automatically like picked up as a fallback. But if you need to like override it, you just write your logic where you say that these events I support, and you return true because your plugins they're executed before the built-in happens, and that's why you kind of and they work like first plugin that matches, it's being executed. Angular doesn't go further through this chain. So you have to just return true for event you want to override before this event.
So if I wanted to proxy it in a way?
If you want to proxy, there is, that's a good question, by the way. So,
just a lead up to the real question.
It's okay, let's start the live coding session. Pizza is completely fine.
Yeah, so if you want to proxy to the built-in one, you can use a reference to the manager because from base class you inherit reference to the manager. Say add event listener and provide the original event like this, and then you simply provide the other function like this one. Here we go, and you don't even need this part. I think I have some. Okay, so this part I think I have to remove. Okay, sorry. This manager, it also, I forgot, it accepts the element first. We have to provide the element and then original event, and in such a way you kind of do proxying to the built-in one. So you kind of intercept your custom event, then you wrap it with your logic you need, and then you propagate to the manager and say that, hey, there is original event, which is simple click or input or whatsoever, and then manager will find built-in manager or plugin that will execute already wrapped handler. So in this case, that's a good question because there is another benefit is that you don't need to this intermediate variable handle unsubscription as well because the built-in plugin will care about it. It will do unsubscription for you as well and execute your modified handler. That's it. So it's even better, I think.